So I'm sitting here on a Saturday afternoon, sipping coffee, watching the leaves drifting down from the tree in my front yard on a sunny, chilly fall day. I don't have a tree in my yard, and those aren't my words. They're from a subscriber who responded to one of my earlier letters. She continues, I keep feeling this pull to writing. It keeps coming back around. The universe seems to keep telling me it's time to set aside one for the other. And then I read your message. It's like another loud and clear message that it's time to write. Well, now, if that just didn't make my day. In keeping with my love of the metaphysical, our lovely reader wraps up. If you're keeping track of how many people you reach with this message with absolute purpose, count me as one. As with all new projects, I always feel mixed emotions of satisfaction and joy, offset by apprehension at the thought of having to do this week after week. And adding the video component, let me tell you, is not easy, but it's something I'm committed to do as well. If I needed any reason to keep going, then that email was definitely a sign and very motivating. But that general apprehension, what is it? That feeling of dread? Is it laziness? Last week, I did another thing outside of my comfort zone. I attended an in-person meetup. I know, crazy, right? The thing is, I used to go a lot of these when I lived in New York. At the time, I was building a mobile app and dabbling in entrepreneurship, and Meetup.com was a good way to meet new people with similar interests. Given the weirdness of the past 2 years, I'm just now getting back into the flow of looking for face-to-face opportunities in town. So there I was on Meetup, where I came across a group that looked interesting and happened to be in walking distance from my home. We were asked to watch a 5-minute video about the idea of a growth mindset. And if you're not familiar with that term, it was coined by Stanford University psychologist Carol Dweck, PhD. After decades of research, Carol discovered a simple but groundbreaking idea, the power of mindset. I've come across her teachings several times during my entrepreneurial journey. And in the book, she shows how success in almost every area of human endeavor can be dramatically influenced by how we think about our talents and our abilities. Those with a growth mindset believe that abilities can be developed and are more likely to flourish, as opposed to those with a fixed mindset who believe that abilities are fixed. The new cadence of this newsletter and these videos, hopefully, is an example of growth mindset. For me, it's almost like a mantra-like intention. It's something I remind myself every single day. I can grow. I am growing. I will always be growing. And the minute that I accept that as my personal truth, shift made. It's now part of my new reality. For those that speak in the language of multidimensionality and parallel timelines, once you align yourself to that view, you'll find that you've now shifted over to the new reality as well. It's pretty heady stuff and a subject for another video indeed. Some of my favorite movies are ones that make my head hurt because they make me think differently about the world. For starters, I recommend Inception, Being John Malkovich, Adaptation, Sliding Doors. I think you get the feel. There's a reason these movies get made and people watch them. For those whom it resonates, they speak to your heart and mind in a way that makes you curious. They help you question the status quo. So why do I talk about this? Because you should be thinking differently all the time. I've come to grips with the realization as I start this new path, there are times I won't have any freaking clue about what I'm going to be writing about the following week, and that's okay. A growth mindset takes the perspective of looking at everything in your life as an opportunity to expand your mind and your perspective. The way you view your life, growth from past mistakes, but not in a way that's self-critical and judgmental, in a way that speaks to what Carol calls not yet. Watch the video to dig deeper, which I'll link to when you have a moment. And remember, provide yourself a bit of grace to that inner child. Give yourself permission to make mistakes. It's okay to not have it all figured out. It's okay to not have all the answers. What stuck me from the Meetup group, which I estimate had an average age of 45, was the willingness of everyone there to be open to learning new things. It's a daily reminder for me that I don't have it figured out, and that's okay. Yes, I'm constantly learning, but what good is it if I don't put any of that into practice? I can't take this knowledge with me. I feel a responsibility, a calling to share my journey. And yes, it's slightly uncomfortable for me to say that I'm sharing my knowledge. That imposter syndrome kicks in hard, and it's something I struggle with daily. I undersell my ability to teach anything since I don't feel I know it all. But here's the thing. I don't have to, and I won't. I've come to realize that it's a special collection of skills and experiences that is uniquely mine, which I can and should share as widely as possible. So should you. It's a constant thread you'll see in these videos. By the way, when I write them, I call them letters, which I thank Dan Coe for, as it helps me visualize the act of writing these to a past, present, and future version of myself, depending on the message. So what are you waiting for? There's a version of you waiting to hear what you have to say. With gratitude.